So Russell Brand has quickly become one of my favorite political commentators. If you don't know who he is, he's an actor, he's a British guy, and he's somebody who has experienced serious addiction. So he's been dealing with serious, or has dealt with serious drug addiction, dealt with sex addiction, which many people don't think is a real thing. But he has a great explanation of addiction, which is basically if you have a compulsion that you can't stop, that affects your life in a negative way. So even if there are no real side effects to not having sex, he still considers it an addiction because his inability to quit that behavior. So I think that's interesting. He's a really interesting guy. I love the way he talks. He's just a very unique person. And he was on Real Time with Bill Maher on last Friday, and pretty much educated the panel on why Donald Trump became president and really the way to avoid it.
You have expressed reservations about voting itself. Where are you on voting now?
Well, Bill, I think that the dominant political parties have a real obligation, as Harold was just explaining, to present the voters, by which I mean human beings like me, real vision, real possibilities, and to transcend the idea that they are merely managers of bureaucracies whose role it is to prevent us being, I suppose, bludgeoned by lunatics like the current one. So I feel that what
But you would agree that it would be better if people had voted for Hillary Clinton, right?
Yes, I wondered if you would ask me that.
Come on, please.
Well, look,
we're getting along
do you
so
think
good.
like
Hillary Clinton would not be pulling out of the Iran deal or the Paris climate deal or...
It's really, I respect you and I admire you very much, and I think you're a courageous man. One of the problems I have in instances such as this is that politics became so centralised, realistic opportunities weren't offered to ordinary people. And when a candidate like Bernie Sanders emerged, he was not given the opportunities that he deserved. I never voted in my country.
What do you mean he was not given the opportunities?
There was
He was given every opportunity. He ran in America. People voted for him, not as many as Hillary.
I wonder why this occurs. I mean, you're talking now about the manipulation of boundaries and borders and the way that certain political figures are managed towards positions of power and authority. That exists at a party political level. The Democratic Party had preferences. Their preference was Hillary. You got Hillary lost. And I don't think that this is not... I think you can tell from a glance that I'm not a Donald Trump guy.
No. I'm trying to come to common ground with you. Let me give you one example from this week. While all the craziness was going on, the Republicans did not reauthorize a program called CHIPS, Children's Health Insurance Program.
Appalling.
Yes, you know of it. Okay, it's been there for 20 years, bipartisan. 9 million kids now are not going to get, what they need, the doctor visits, checkups.
Yes, this is dreadful.
So I think for those people, voting matters.
You are quite right.
It's easy to say, voting and they're all bad, but for those people downstream, it would have mattered if he wasn't president.
I entirely recognise I had a comparable problem in our country because I'd advocated not voting. I said, well, don't vote until they give you realistic opportunities, until there are politicians that speak directly to you, that speak for ordinary working people. Until then, why would you participate in this spectacle? You're being invited to participate in something that doesn't offer you realistic opportunities. The candidate for the left at that time was, I would say, a comparable candidate, someone that was a neoliberal, centralist politician that didn't oppose the corporate interests and elite interests. This allowed hegemony to continue. Now, I think that if the left isn't brave enough to occupy the space where ordinary people whose lives are in difficulty and in trouble, if a politician on the left doesn't say, we are interested in representing you, we want to take care of you, ordinary Americans, then the bizarre, lunatic rhetoric of a man like Trump is suddenly appealing. We have witnessed this. The alternative is in the United Kingdom that Jeremy Corbyn, a genuine socialist candidate, has come to the front, and I voted for the first time, and people care
What
now.
were you like on cocaine? We're going to go over it. I want to hear more, but I have to go to New...
I love this clip. Now, one of the things that I hate that Bill Maher always does, and he does it again in this video, is every time it seems like there's a guest on who makes an amazing point and there could be a great conversation around it, it's time to move on to a different subject or to the end of the show. And they never actually get to dive deeper in whatever was just said. Because Russell Brand there was completely right. Now, at the same time, I'm sort of stuck in between Bill Maher and Russell Brand. Yes, Hillary Clinton is clearly not an ideal choice for president. But at the same time, I agree with Bill Maher that she would not be pulling out of the Iran deal. At least not threatening to. We'll see if Trump actually does that. But this is why this discussion is so tough, because there is no clear answer, right? So let's say Hillary Clinton won the election. People would still be angry. There would still be this fervor for something different. So what would have happened in 2020? Maybe then she would have lost to Trump or somebody else who was even worse. So if we go back to the status quo, we're just going to get another Donald Trump. So to keep voting for the status quo that's not going to work. People will continue hurting. People will continue wanting something else. That's why this was almost inevitable. Yeah, it would have been preferable if Hillary Clinton was president right now, but she's not. And if she was, we would have gotten to the same place with a Donald Trump or a Donald Trump-like figure anyways, because this is the path that neoliberal takes you down. Neoliberals take you down this path of the gains going to the top and the scraps are being fought among everybody else. So you need somebody, as Russell Brand said, representing a real voice, representing the voice of the working people, a voice that people haven't really seen nationally until Bernie Sanders came along. And now, as Russell Brand said, Jeremy Corbyn. And I think Jeremy Corbyn is the signal that things are about to change. I think Corbyn will become prime minister, and I think in 2020, a real progressive is going to be up against Donald Trump. I just don't see the Democratic establishment doing this again. They don't have somebody like Hillary Clinton who has the immense name recognition and celebrity that she had. So it's going to be somebody who has a voice that speaks for the people. Now, I have some ideas in mind of who that could be. If Bernie runs again, I think he absolutely has it. If Bernie doesn't run, then maybe Nina Turner. I know she's just been a state senator, but she's an activist. She speaks to that anger. Maybe Barbara Lee, who's in the House, but she has a history of being strong on the issues and a true progressive. So it's not clear who that person's going to be. But I think it's going to be somebody that speaks to that anger that Bernie Sanders and Jeremy Corbyn are speaking to, and what Russell Brand is talking about here. So I've largely stopped watching Real Time with Bill Maher. I stopped watching a few weeks ago after there was just more random slams on Bernie Sanders for apparently no reason. But if he keeps having guests like this on, then it's worth tuning in to see some guests, hopefully educate Bill Maher. And it appears in that segment, Bill Maher said, "I'm starting to come around to you." So maybe he's re-waking up, because in the primaries, Bill Maher supported Bernie Sanders. And now he seems to be okay with allowing people to slam Bernie for apparently no reason. But I don't know. This clip was great, and I hope to see more of this on Real Time, but we'll see.